It's a streamer fly for the river shore primarily. Just find this a good colour, and it's a fly I was asked to tie by a guy from down around Carrick on shore called Adriano. He wanted me to tie one of my streamer patterns, so call this one the nice boy, but look, it's along the lines of most articulated streamer patterns. It is articulated, so there's a lot of movement in it. It's using two size 4 Ahrex light stinger hooks. I prefer the straight-eyed hooks, and I would tie it in this size or size 6 hooks. And there's all the usual features of these, so it's not sort of a new pattern, it's just a pattern. There's loads and loads of similar streamer patterns out there, but it's really good. It's not weighted. I don't like them weighted. I prefer to use a sinking fly line to get them down. It has eyes. I think that's an important trigger point, and these are UV, and some of the materials, I don't know if you can quite see it on the camera, but those eyes really pop. They're a pink bead chain, and there's an angel here through it as well, and that's also really UV. So I blended a bit of that through the funky fibre in the head here, and it's a sort of a pink colour. So it is the nice boy. Let's get to tying this one. Take an Ahrex light stinger, size 4. Just set that in the vise. Okay, so that's going to be our back hook. Let's move a bit so you can see a bit better. That's going to be our back hook, and on this hook really we're just dealing with materials. I'm going to use some white thread. I'm not going to use that in too heavy on this. I'm just going to use 6/0, so just semperfli classic waxed in 6/0. You can use nano silks and stuff if you want on these, but for the rivers here in Ireland, I don't go too mad. We're not using really any materials here that we wouldn't be using on the standard reservoir lure really, so you don't have to worry. For the tail of this one, we're using some pink, so it's kind of a fluffier marabou, chickaboo, something like that, that's what it tends to be called. And I'm just going to tie this in by the tip, and I'm just going to break out just the very top part of the tip. I don't particularly like to have that in the tails or wings of my pattern, so I'm just going to tease out a length of this. Okay, and I'm going to go around the length of the hook shank. Okay, like so. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to twist this marabou into a bit of a rope and trim it off. Give it another twist, just moisten your fingers. Give it another twist, so that's fine. And then I'm just going to trim it the length of the body. Trap it down, come back down over it. Now at this point, if you want to, you can add some flash. I'm just going to add a little bit of located here, so it's a very small amount of angel hair in a pink as well. So I'm just going to basically just tease out a small bit of that from the hank. Like so. I'm just going to put a bit down, sort of to the sides really. So just catch it in. I'm just going to bring it over the top and lay it along the top on your side, and just kind of trim it at a kind of saw it off not to have it too straight at the tips. Just helps with the taper. Yeah. Let's break that off a bit. Okay, I don't put too much of that in because I don't want to. These articulated streamers, really, it's all about movement as much as anything else. So, okay, so I'm just going to catch in a rib. So I'm just going to use some pink wire. You could use silver wire as well. I'm just going to use some pink wire. Just going to trap that in and then come back down. That's a bit better. For the body, I'm just going to use it's a veniard dubbing, some veniard glister in pink. Just make sure it's a pink. Yeah, get it out of that. The sun is shining in there. Hopefully you can see that it's a lightish pink. It's very similar in color really to the tail material. So just going to use that. Just going to take a length of that. I probably need a little bit more than this, but that's enough to get it started up the hook anyway. And stop that on, just get a little bit more. So probably for the Irish rivers, don't go much bigger than this, so 2 size 4s. Personally, this one's going to be used early enough in the season. 2 size 6s will be fine as well. So it's going to end up at, it's going to be a pretty big fly when it's done. Just going to attach in my hackle. It's a soft enough, again, think movement. It's a grizzle cock, but it's a soft enough one. And I don't want the fibres mad long here on the back hook either. So you see they're not mad long. Just trap that in. I should be able to get away with how to hackle pliers on this, so just give it a turn or two and then just get it started on down the body. And you can see I'm not going too mad with the fibre length on the first one. I'll go a little bit longer on the front hook. Let's trap that in with your pink wire and just bring your pink wire up through there. Like so. Just catch in your wire then, front and behind, and just twist it off. Wire this one. And then let's catch your grizzle hackle tip there and cut it off. What I'm going to do now is just going to get a Velcro brush. 2 here, this one might be a little bit severe. It's a nice loon one, but I use it a bit for getting the dubbing out of shrimps and stuff. So I'm just going to Velcro out some of that flashy dubbing. Like so, just to add a bit more flash to it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another piece of my marabou. So there's a little piece inside the stem here with just a short piece. I'm going to trim that off and I'm going to pull this marabou forward again on the stem like so, and a few bits came off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and get the tips a little bit more even there. Just going to tie that in over the top like so. Not quite to the length of the tail, it's a little bit short. Just get in 2 or 3 turns. Turn or 2 in front. Okay, I like to twist this just for cutting it off. It just keeps everything a little bit neater. And then just trap everything down with your thread like so. And you can add a set of rubber legs here if you want. Kind of up to you. Usually I add kind of 2 sets of rubber legs, so where you want to position them, again, they look different on everybody's streamers, but I usually like to add 1 set here at the front of this and another set behind the eyes on the front hook. So just catching that in with a figure of 8. I'm just going to locate my whip finish tool here. Hiccup. Just pull everything back out of your way there. So whip finish that. Okay, I'm going to trim these. I put them down, so I want to trim them the same length, and I don't really want them going back beyond the tail, so that's kind of my measurement, about half the length of the tail, like so. So that's my back hook done. Okay, so just going to add a bit of lacquer to that. To that there. So that's one hook. Attach the front hook and take a piece of, this is a pike trace wire, so about 5. You want to probably give yourself maybe a bit more than this, maybe 6 inches if you're starting off with streamers, and just get your wires the same length. Now you can use different beads and different numbers of beads and different sizes of beads, but I actually prefer to use an oval bead, and you can use 1 or 2 oval beads on a fly this size, and the idea of the beads is to stop the hook from fouling on the other hook. So and it still has the movement, obviously, for the articulation. So place another size 4 Ahrex stinger in the vise, and I changed over here because the wire is likely to cut the thread, and I'm using 200 denier thread here for the front. So use something like 3/0 if you have it, or a really strong nano, something like that. So just bring that down to the bend of the hook. It doesn't really matter what colour, it's kind of a cream colour, doesn't really matter. And then just try and get your wires fairly flat and line them up on the hook. I've kind of cut these to that roughly the length I probably need already, but we'll see. So sit your other hook in the jaws of the vise there. Just trying to get these on top where I want them and trap them down. Okay. Now I'm going to be putting some eyes on the fly here, so I'm just going to stop around there. Just think it would be a little bit neater for me for the eyes. So a couple of turns there, and I'm going to bend one first, and you don't have to do it this way, it's just the way I do it. I'm going to bend one first, and I'm going to bend the other one. You could go with intruder wire, depends on how much movement and so on you want in the fly, and then how likely it is to foul and so on. So that's, as I say, pike wire by Berkley, and it's probably maybe 20 pound. You could go a bit lighter even. Just trim that off. I'm not using my good tine scissors for cutting this wire, so you can imagine I don't want to mess it up completely, and just trim that off, or you could use a pliers. So I'm just going to get that hook, and I'm just going to sit it in there into that jaw to find that Stonefall transformer vice that jaw is really useful for that. Just going to run my thread back up to the front here, and I'm going to get some brush on super glue. I'm just going to brush the super glue all along this here. Then I'm going to add some eyes. Now, all your streamers don't have to be weighted, right? And if you use the fly line to pull them down, you're going to get more movement potentially than if the streamer is heavily weighted. So, and I'm just going to tie them in underneath. Just be careful. My super glue mightn't be fully set, so I don't want to. So just tie them in with a figure of 8. Mind your feathers from the glue. And tie these in here. Okay, that out of the way. And bring my thread back down. Okay, so that should be well secured now. Just bring it back up and down, just make sure it's well bound on. And I'm going to get my whip finish tool. I'm going to remove this thread. Now you could tie the fly with this heavier thread if you want, but it's just I don't. For that sort of the tying part, I don't use it, but you could use a heavier thread or whatever. So I'm going to reattach my 6/0 thread here now. And as I said, it's just what I like to tie with. And I'm going to get the last piece of marabou from that feather, which is this piece here. Again, just a twist, and that's going to be sort of a tail that goes over this here. So just trim off the stem, so you can moisten your fingers, and it just makes this a little bit less prone to go all over the place. So I'm going to tie that in, and it's kind of going to go in a little bit on top of the wing there, like so. And I'm going to trap that down. Bring the thread back down. Pull that off. And I'm going to add another tiny bit of my flash. So the same as we used on the back. This time I'm going to kind of spread it out a bit and just have it kind of flowing back over everything, but not loads, you know what I mean? It's just a small amount. Okay, and that, you can see, just adds that little bit of flash through, because we want to keep the movement in the fly. Okay, so locate my pink wire. So it's about a medium pink wire. Just catch that in, just trap it down, so. And then we're going to get our pink dubbin again. It's a veniard dubbin. It's a pink glistery dubbing. We're going to dub that on. Now if you want to be able to tease out more your dubbing here, tied in here, go down and back up along the style that you would see a lot of saltwater shrimp flies done, that'll allow you to tease out a bit more, but I'm quite happy just to have a heavyish dubbing rope on the thread and start from here. Just wrap that down along the body like so. And we're going to get another grizzle hackle. Going to go one a little bit longer on the fibre this time. Try and find a nice one. this one. And put away some of the fluff and trim the hackle tip. I'm going to catch that hackle tip in. Let's make sure my eyes are where I want them. Just going to get again 1 or 2 turns at the start here, and then hammer that on down. And locate my pink wire. The wire up through it. It's a bit like tying a woolly bugger. When you're tying the body, you have a lot of these. You know, it's kind of like having a woolly bugger in front of a woolly bugger, you might say. Strap that down, trim off your waist hackle. Now you can add things to these, you can add mallard flank feathers and, you know what I mean, all sorts of stuff. But we'll start off for Adriano with a fairly straightforward one. So I'm going to get another one of my pink barred marabou feathers. I do think the bars are nice on the streamers. I'm going to add that in on top, and again we're going to go sort of maybe almost to the close to the length of the tail of the previous bunch of marabou. So it'll be about there. And again I'm going to moisten this and twist it. And I'm just going to trim it off like so, because I'm in against the eyes here. I want to be neat, like so. That's it. And then another bit of our flash. We pull out a longish bit, not too much. Yeah, less is more sometimes. Catch that in. Just 2 turns. Just fold it back. So that's fine. And then I'm going to add 2 more rubber legs. These are just a grizzle barred one. You could use a pink grizzle probably as well. I just used the normal grizzle barred ones. So again, just catch those in on top. With your thread and bind them down. Okay, now I'm just going to bring my thread forward here. So again, I want these going back. It can be a little bit longer than that on the front ones. Try and keep them roughly the same length. Okay, now I'm just going to put a little head on the front of the fly here around the eyes. So with some funky fibre here in a light pink. Now you could add a bit of the flash through this if you want. We'll see. So I'm just going to double this for the first bunch. Let's see how it's looking. Okay. Okay. Just going to catch that in there. So it's a little bit long here, just take a little bit off it. And I'm going to pull off another little bunch of this here, about the width of a whiteboard marker. And I'm going to trim that. I'm just going to turn the fly upside down. I'm just going to catch that in there, like so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold those bits back. Okay, I'm going to stroke those back. I'm just going to catch them in so that the ends that were sticking out over the eye of the hook, okay, stroke those back. I'm going to trim this one at the minute, and watch your rubber legs when you're doing this. Just going to trim it at a little angle, so it makes almost like a little chin on the fly. I'm going to come forward now in front of the eyes here. I'm going to repeat that process. Okay, so I'm going to pull off a piece of this, and I'm going to, now as I say, look, we might as well, we'll add a bit of flash just for the heck of it. Just going to pull off about an equivalent with a bunch of pink flash. Okay, and I'm just going to mix that in with the funky fibre there. Okay, just have a bit of flash on the head, why not? So I'm going to again line that up there, and catch it in, and I'm going to do the same underneath, but I'm going to use a little bit of a thinner width underneath this time. And again, you get a little bit of flash. Not too much. And I'm just going to mix that in. You can spend as long as you like blending these, but as we have a video to make, I'm not going to go overboard. So again, just catch that in there, like so. Okay, and we're going to do the same as before. We're going to push this back. This is going to add a sort of a bit of a bulky head to the fly. Okay, just separate those out. Just all I'm doing there, just keeping the eye a bit cleaner. Mind your fingers here and get that trailing hook back out of the way. I'm going to effectively start to create a little thread dam here in front. Okay, it doesn't need to be massive, just a little bit of a thread dam. Okay, like so. Just keep your eye of your fly as clean as you can. Right, so I'm going to get my whip finish tool. I'd say this would take perch and pike and so on as well, this pattern, but we're pretty much interested in, get that out of the way, we're mostly interested in this, as I say, as a trout pattern. I've never tried it for anything else. I'm going to give it a second whip finish now. The reason I'm doing that is because it's a big pattern and I'm not using too heavy a thread. But look, you get a nice neat area in front here close to the eye by not using something too heavy. So as I say, you do have to watch your fingers. So I'm just going to break that off because there's 2 whip finishes on it. And get this back in here now. I'm just going to add a little bit of lacquer or glue. I'm going to use the glue on this one. Just being a cutie critter, so to speak. Just make sure you don't get it in the eye of the fly. Okay. Then I'm going to take my loon dubbing brush here. Remember I was saying this is quite spiky. I'm going to start brushing back this dubbing. So underneath I want a little bit of sort of a wedgy chin shape. Okay, so I'm going to come in at this angle and I'm aiming for the point of the hook there. So, okay, so starting to take shape there. Anything that's kind of out of place, take it. Now look, keep this, use it on another fly. Okay. And then I'm gonna, again, just gonna say this vice is great for this, but you got to just brush everything back. Okay. I'm gonna come in with my scissors again, and I'm just gonna just trim the tops to a taper here. Like so. You get a little bit of the angry bird going on, as Trevor Noon would say. Trevor over at Crafty Fly. Okay, so just trimming around the way I want it. I want my eyes shown. Like so. Remember I was saying that those eyes are UV, so I do want those to be seen. So there's a bit of trimming, and the more of these you'll trim, the better you'll get, or they'll look the way you want them. So you've got your legs and trailing hooks. Okay, so I might do another bit with it and see. So, there you have the nice boy, as we like to call it.